And to discuss this a little more, we're now joined by TSR Subramanian, the former Cabinet Secretary. Thanks, Mr. Subramanian, for joining us here on What's Hot on CNBC TV 18. So, you could call it a landmark decision which has been taken by the Cabinet today to try and prevent corruption. I want to get your initial thoughts on it, especially when we talk about the non-monetary gratification. What do you make of that now being included in the ambit?
It's only 1 day old, half a day old. I have not had time to see the provisions carefully till now. Maybe tomorrow I'll have a better view. But from what I've heard of the headlines, I think I like what I hear. I think many of the features have clearly there is now a new comprehensive approach rather than a piecemeal kind of an approach. Clearly they need to address the problem. Clearly the need to make quicker inquiry, quicker punishment, enhancement of punishment. I think all these are excellent. I also fully agree with the concept that prior approval is to be obtained, particularly in respect of those who take policy decisions. I think overall it sounds very good, but one will reserve judgment till one will look at the whole picture. And what are the questions you specifically asked?
I wanted to ask you that what did you make of this non-monetary gratification definition which has been included into this?
I think it is an excellent idea. Till now we have been confined ourselves only to one-to-one bilateral monetary gratification. The kind of satisfaction that is received in complex deals becomes multilateral. It becomes I scratch your back, you scratch his back, he will scratch his back, he will scratch your back kind of a situation. I think this is excellent, and the kind of gratification that comes in different ways, in different forms, including staying in office, allowed to continue to function in certain positions. All these are there. I think these are welcome. The only small nagging worry I have is with regard to 13D1 of the old PC Act. I don't know if it still remains or not, where deliberate costs of loss to the exchequer was cognizable. I hope it has not been tampered with. I hope it continues, because one had the hint that may go down, because if that goes away, 13D3 earlier goes away, it will very severely impact the huge coal scam cases, 2G cases, so many cases pending in court. It will affect adversely. I sincerely hope that in this mass of new decision making, that thing is not dropped. I sincerely hope so.
How should we read these amendments that have been brought about today in light of what the Supreme Court had to say on the 19th of April when it held that a public servant cannot by default claim legal protection or prior sanction against prosecution? How should we read these two together? And also your thoughts that, it's a good move, they're trying to reduce trial time, but 2 years, isn't that still quite long?
Well, 2 years in Indian country not long. 20 years, the standard is 20 years. So in that sense, I mean, in America you would say 2 years is too long. In Indian conditions, 2 years is not too long. I also like the concept of a special court in each district or area, a special corruption court. But I think the overall thrust, I think, is correct. I think the particularly decision makers, Joint Secretary and above, who deal with unknown sectors, policy decisions which could turn out to be totally wrong years later, need protection not just while in service, but also when they are out of service. Today's rule is that they're protected only while in service. I hope they'll be protected later also. I have not seen the rules as yet. Finally, as I said, my nagging worry is only this. 13D3, I hope, is not being tampered with. I hope it has not been diluted. That will have very major implications if it's been done. Otherwise, I like whatever they hear.
Sir, from what we understand, I mean, there is no explicit mention of diluting the provision that you refer to. But I want to just expand on this point of making sure that, corruption within bureaucracy is checked to the extent possible. On one hand, there is a certain protection that is being now offered to public servants even beyond their, period of duty, even after retirement. On the other hand, and I'm quoting from the provisions now, it says that obligation of a public servant has been explicitly delineated, such as the public servant deters from violating a statutory duty or any set of rules, government policies, executive instructions and procedures. I'm just trying to understand if these amendments will make conditions stringent enough to deter public servants from, we've had the corporate espionage case, we've had a number of such instances. Does it tighten up the law enough?
I am not able to. I'm not able to comment accurately for want of detail, etc. Which probably a day or two I'm going to be able to do that. But the important thing is, if you are focusing purely on the civil servant, we are barking up the wrong tree, because corruption includes political corruption, and usually when there are massive corruption cases, the civil servant is involved along with the minister, who is usually the senior partner. And I hope this addresses that issue also. I hope it addresses also some way the election system, where money goes, where unauthorized money goes there, because that's the root of all this. So actually it is all mixed up. Political reform, corruption reform, civil service reform, election reform. Therefore, one hopes that this is the first of a comprehensive package which will address the totality of the problem. As I said, I like what is there, but if it's a cover for dropping 13D3, I'm very worried.
Have to go through the fine print and actually see if there's been any tampering, any dilution with section 13D3. Yes. But thanks a lot, Mr. Subramanian, for joining us here on CNBC TV 18.